Can you give us a little demo of how the paddle comes apart and gets
Sure.
put back together?
I'll try to do this fairly slowly. Again, at the bottom is a quick turn screw that releases and spreads the handle apart. And the handle has to come apart from two locking, both sides, locking pegs that go into this surface. That holds this handle to the thing, so no matter how hard you swing it, it won't come apart. So I have to do a little work here to separate this, but I'll take these handles out of the pegs, and then the handle slides off. Here's the handle and grip. Here's the edge of the end of the edge guard, the solid framed edge guard, and it pulls apart just enough, has enough elasticity to pull this piece out. So just like in that animation, you've got your solid frame edge guard. You take the new one with the gel tape attached, and you just place it back in. And you go in the reverse order. You put it back into the frame, and it squeezes on to that gel tape very, very strongly. It creates, you can probably see that little bit of blue there. That creates that cushioning between that edge guard and the surface edge itself. So the handle slides back on with a little doing right now because this is a demo. But it slides back into the handle and grip, and you just slide it on. Now I want to point out, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to try and get it kind of close. Do you see those little peg holes in there? I'm not sure if you can see it.
Yes, we can see them.
There are pegs in these handles. So it slides over it, you have to separate it. You grip it together, you press those together. You turn that end cam, and it squeezes that back down together. Now it is secure, and that handle will not come out from that grip, from that edge guard. So the idea is that you switch it in and out. You provide, you can still put on, new grips or whatever you want. We provide you with our quiet grip or one of our others. But so it happens in and out pretty quickly, and now you've got your quiet TORQ paddle, the polyurethane paddle that is quiet in itself. If you've ever played with a paddle tech paddle, they're quieter than most graphites. But the edge guard gel quiets it down even more. It's an interesting phenomenon when you can get a structure and put a dampening element between it and another hard structure. So anyway, that's how it works. That's how it comes together. There are probably 6 or 7 different kinds of materials out there of different widths, depths. There's graphite with Nomex, graphite with aluminum cores. There's poly with aluminum cores. There's fiberglass with aluminum cores and Nomex. So the combinations are all over the place. If you have a favorite kind of paddle you like to play with outside, we can actually give you that exact configuration of what you're used to playing with anyway. Let's say you play with a Legacy paddle from Pickleball Inc., which is a very good tournament paddle. We would love to have a Legacy version of this insert offered to the marketplace for $31 retail instead of $85 for the Legacy paddle itself. So it has some efficiencies of build. You can see how easy it is to put these elements together. So it's a little cheaper to build for us, but it's also a good cost savings for somebody who says, I just want to have a different kind of paddle when I play outdoors. So that's the idea.
Can you talk about the marketing?
So the market, as everybody knows, is just incredibly tight. it has exploded in the past 2 years, really year and a half, since Brian Williams and NBC News did a feature on it, and everybody started playing it. It's now catching up everywhere, not just in retirement centers, but everywhere. And in Seattle, one of the more mature markets, 2 or 3, 4 years ago, I was looking to play pickleball someplace, and I found 3 community centers that played it. Today, every community center plays it. They play it several times a week. They have different levels of play, from beginner, intermediate, and advanced, so you know where to go at which time. But if you look at the rest of the country, they are where we were 4 years ago. They're just beginning to build their community center pickleball programs out there. And mostly it's because it takes some time to get the lines on the court converted to pickleball. It uses the same court as a volleyball court and badminton, I believe. And most gyms have that. But we're going to be going after the community centers, the university gyms, the church gyms, and get the real social aspect of this game communicated through the community. And one of the things that we've designed is a website for the community center to give to their players that will allow them to put groups, teams together to communicate the play that happens at the community center, and allows them, it's got a little tournament builder. If you go to our website, torquinc.com, TORQINC.com, and look into our marketing section, there's a section about that, how we're going to introduce this to the 20 secondary markets out there. There are some markets like Los Angeles, some of the bigger ones, San Francisco, New York, who are just beginning to pick it up as well. But it's the Milwaukees and Minneapolises and all these things that are beginning to really pick this up, particularly the northern states who have winter, severe winters, and people need to find places to play this game. The community center, who doesn't have pickleball, normally has a pretty empty place between 10 and 2 in the afternoon. And it's a perfect for just retired folks who are looking for exercise. And you go down to the community center and pay $2 or $3 to play each time, which is a lot cheaper than a gym fee. And all of a sudden you're playing with 30 people at a time, and you're going in and out in groups of 4, and you're playing this great game for 2 hours. You get a great workout, and you build a group of friends. So that is an amazing way to go. And we believe that that is the market to go after, not the tournaments where all these other companies have walls of paddles, not the retirement communities where everyone is represented down there and all the players have their favorites. We believe that there's a whole market out there, a potential market that will embrace this kind of idea. We're going to have our second panel is an inexpensive one-piece with the edge guard, but one-piece paddle that we'll be offering to them that we can sell 3 nets, 12 paddles, 50 balls to the community center as a starter kit. And they get our website builder for free to allow people to build tournaments, to have inter-community center play. Very interesting. And this was all designed by interviewing the community centers up here and say, what do you need? What don't you have now? When you started, what would you have done differently? Why did you buy the wooden paddles? Why did you buy the Cosm balls instead of the jugs ball? All this stuff, all these questions we've learned how to put a package together for them and get our paddles out into the market.
Will people be able to buy your paddles through brick and mortar outlets?
Probably not initially. We're going to be offering it on our own sites, and of course we'll have an Amazon distribution channel. But the most important thing, we're going to be having a player rep program put this community center into the Minneapolises and the Milwaukees and the Denvers. I guess Denver's pretty big, but into these places, it's all led by a player program, and this is based on a program. One of our people involved in the company has been in the player rep side of a large racket company, and so they're putting a program together in which you have pros, city pros, who go around to the community centers, get lessons, and sell the paddles. So if you go to our Indiegogo campaign, you'll notice that if you give $100, you get, if you contribute $100 to our effort, you get a paddle. So it's kind of like pre-ordering a paddle. But you also get to be listed in our player rep program, because we would love to have people start thinking about wearing the TORQ gear and going to community centers and starting up the program and getting them all involved. So that player rep program is going to be based on a successful one from another racket industry. Did that answer your question? So again, we'll be getting this together here in the next several months. And
I'm sorry, I had my mute on.
no problem.
And I'm just trying to get up your Indiegogo campaign here so that people can actually see what they get for their contributions. Now, with Indiegogo, money doesn't get extracted from their account until you meet your goal. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing.
One of the reasons we did that was because we want to give our paddles away to people who contribute. And that means we have to have a certain amount of money to pay for the molds for the carbon fiber frame, to pay for the molds for our inserts and handles, etc. And there's a certain threshold you have to get to. And if we don't get to that threshold, then we get 1,000 people contributing, we have to have 1,000 paddles ready to give away, and that takes a certain amount of setup time. So if we don't make that for this Indiegogo campaign, then we'll be going with private equity funding instead, in which we'll be raising money and selling shares of the company. But,
so here I've got a graphic on the screen that shows how the money is going to be spent.
Yeah, you can see that it's the majority of it is manufacture, because setting it up and all the molds and everything else is the second. But actually producing these things is the majority of the cost for us to get these paddles out in the market. And if we get a whole bunch of people donating and I can't give them paddles, then we haven't met our match. So I didn't want to raise half of the amount of money and not be able to get the paddles to the people who contributed enough to get one of our paddles. So we decided to go with the all or nothing, because it's really not much of a risk for somebody to pledge $125 to pre-order our $120 paddle, which we're expecting to be in the marketplace for $120. They're basically getting the first paddle off the assembly line for their contribution and helping us get it off the ground. But there's no risk. So if in, 6.5 weeks from now, 7 weeks from now, we don't reach our goal, their money doesn't get taken out. So we have to raise money other ways, and they will just buy the paddle when it comes out from money we raise in other ways.
So for $100, they get a paddle. Is that what I'm reading here on the Indiegogo campaign?
They get a paddle with one insert. It'll be the quiet insert. For $150, they get a paddle with both inserts. So, and they get in each case the T-shirts and instant sign up to be a reseller and to be part of our player rep program. We'd love to have TORQ representatives out everywhere in the community talking about pickleball. getting it into the community centers, helping us fan the flames, but also to talk about the TORQ series paddle and the paddles that we're going to be introducing in the future. So for $250, they get 2 of these paddles with 2. So 2 TORQ series paddles, and again, all the other additions. So for $500, they get all of our products as we develop them. They become part of the elite lifetime TORQ team, and we send them each paddle as we get it. We get them involved in testing our paddles. And they become sort of part of the team for our product development efforts.
Can they get a commission off of selling paddles into the community centers?
Right. We actually, as part of that, we call it the sales rep team. The player reps are able to sell our paddles at a discount or for a little bit lower because they get a significant amount off of it. Only the players and our Amazon outlets are going to have, they buy from us wholesale basically, and they can sell them for more and make a little bit of money themselves, as well as being one of our player reps. There are people who go and play pickleball every day. I see them all the time, and they sell everyone's paddles out there out of the trunk of their car. It's a good one-on-one sales channel. People can buy it directly. The sales rep makes some money. The player gets to get the paddle now instead of waiting through the mail. And they get to actually try it out, which is a good way for player reps and sales reps get the word out about these paddles. Is here, try this out. Okay, oh, you want one? Great. So direct sale to that base is, we think, a big portion of it. And it happens to be the largest section of the marketplace. It is the recreational player, the person who plays in the city tournaments, not the USAPA Nationals or US Open, but the tournaments that are put together as a regional, or the one that's put together as a citywide, or the senior games, or whatever. Don't necessarily have to be USA APA sanctioned, but they're just tournaments that get put together. And it's going to get to the point, and it's just starting to happen here in Seattle, in which Roanoke or Ravenna challenges somebody else's pickleball, North Seattle, for a tournament that's going to be played on a Wednesday night for a couple hours, and there's going to be a single or double elimination, and all that is just to kind of build this phenomenon of the camaraderie. Everybody knows each other, and it's a nice way to get it just kind of moving like it is in racquetball and tennis.